There's a specific kind of pain that only the forgotten child knows. Not the pain of being hit, not the pain of being yelled at, the pain of standing in a room full of people who were supposed to love you and realizing you're completely invisible. Let me tell you what that looks like. You're 9 years old. It's your birthday. Your parents remembered. They got you a cake. They sang happy birthday. But when you tried to tell them about the award you won at school that day, the one you'd been excited about for weeks, your dad's phone rang. Your mom started talking about your sister's college applications. And within 60 seconds, your birthday became background noise to someone else's life. So you stopped talking. You ate your cake quietly. You learned that your excitement wasn't important enough to hold anyone's attention. That's the invisible child. Not abused, not unloved, just unseen. You learned to celebrate victories in silence, process heartbreak alone, achieve things with nobody watching, ask for nothing, because asking meant waiting for an answer that never came. You became the kid who didn't share good news, because enthusiasm met with indifference hurts worse than keeping joy to yourself. And now you're the adult who feels guilty for wanting attention, apologizes for existing, has perfected the art of disappearing while standing right in front of someone. If that's you, if you felt that description in your chest, you didn't just survive childhood. You developed 7 rare psychological traits that most people will never understand. And the next 18 minutes, I'm going to show you the neuroscience of why being ignored rewires your brain differently. The 7 specific traits you developed as survival mechanisms that now feel like curses. Why you can't just get over it, and why trying is making it worse. The exact healing framework that actually works for invisible children. But here's what you need to understand right now. Everything you think is wrong with you, the hyper-independence, the people-pleasing, the emotional numbness, isn't a personality flaw. It's a trauma response. Your brain did what it had to do to survive. And now, it's time to understand why. Let's begin. Part 1. How it started. The invisible child pattern. Being the ignored child rarely happens in a vacuum. It emerges from specific family dynamics that taught you invisibility was safer than visibility. Maybe your sibling had special needs that required most of your parents' energy. Or your sibling was louder, more troubled, more charismatic. The squeaky wheel got the oil, and you learned that not squeaking meant not mattering. Or maybe your parents were going through a divorce, dealing with financial stress, managing their own mental health struggles, emotionally unavailable due to their own unhealed wounds. They were physically present, but emotionally absent. Here's what happened to your developing brain. Between ages 6 and 12, the crucial years when children develop their sense of self-worth, you needed something called attunement. Not just someone who listened to your words, but someone who noticed what you didn't say. Someone who could read your face and ask, "You seem quiet today. What's going on?" Instead, you got silence, so you became your own parent. The part of you that should have been carefree was managing adult-sized emotional responsibilities, regulating your own feelings, meeting your own needs, solving your own problems. This created what psychologists call a developmental disruption in attachment. Children need to feel seen, noticed, and understood, safe, emotionally held, significant, valued as they are. When that doesn't happen, the child learns. Connection is unreliable. Self-reliance is survival. The cost: your identity formation got interrupted. Instead of discovering who you were through being witnessed by caring adults, you learned to shape yourself around the negative space of others' attention. Boundaries dissolved because you never learned you were entitled to have them. Emotionally, you were forced to grow up too fast. You became the one who could handle things. But here's what nobody tells you. This wasn't parentification through being given responsibilities. This was parentification through being given nothing and having to figure everything out yourself. Dr. Gabor Mate writes in Scattered Minds, "The greatest damage done by neglect, trauma, or emotional loss is not the immediate pain they inflict, but the long-term distortions they induce in the way a developing child will continue to interpret the world." That interpretation became your operating system. You didn't just think you were unimportant. You built your entire personality around that belief. And that personality, It has 7 specific traits. Part 2. The 7 traits of the invisible child. The ignored child doesn't stay a child. They grow up, and the survival strategies that helped them navigate childhood become the traits that mark their adult life. Here are the 7 rare traits you developed. Trait 1. Hyper-independence that borders on isolation. You don't just prefer doing things yourself. You're almost incapable of asking for help. The idea of depending on someone makes your skin crawl. Real example. You're sick, really sick. Fever, can't get out of bed sick. Your friend texts, "Need anything?" You text back, "I'm good, thanks." Even though you have no food in the house, even though you can barely stand. Why? Because asking for help as a child meant waiting for an answer that never came, being told, "Not right now," feeling like a burden. Your brain learned, don't ask, don't need, don't trust. The cost. You're the friend who shows up for everyone's crisis, but disappears when you're struggling. You'd rather suffer in silence than risk the vulnerability of needing someone. You know this trait if you've been complimented for being so independent, and it felt like an insult because you're not independent by choice. You're independent because depending on people became dangerous. Trait 2. The chameleon effect. You become what others need. You don't have a strong sense of self because you spent your formative years shape-shifting to be less burdensome. Real example. Someone asks, "What kind of restaurant do you want to go to?" You, "I'm fine with whatever you want." Them, "No, seriously, what do you want?" You, genuinely have no idea, because for so long, your preferences didn't matter, so you stopped having them. In social situations, you read the room and adjust. You mirror others' interests. You mold yourself to others' preferences. This developed as survival. If being your authentic self didn't get you noticed, maybe being what others wanted would. The cost. You've performed for so long, you've lost the plot of your own personality. You know this trait if someone's asked, "But what do you want?" and you genuinely couldn't answer. Trait 3. Over-apologizing and minimizing your needs. Sorry becomes your default. You apologize for taking up space, having feelings, existing in a way that might inconvenience someone. You minimize everything. Your pain is not that bad. Your achievements are no big deal. Your needs are always less important than everyone else's. Real example. You're in a meeting. You have a legitimate point to make. You start with, "Sorry, this might be stupid." But why? Because as a child, your needs were treated as optional. So you learned to make yourself smaller, quieter, easier to overlook. The cost. You've trained everyone to treat you as an afterthought. You know this trait if someone's told you, "Stop apologizing for everything," and you immediately said, "Sorry." Trait 4. Emotional numbness, masquerading as calmness. People think you're calm, level-headed, unflappable. They don't realize you're not calm. You're disconnected. You've suppressed emotions for so long, you barely feel them. Anger gets swallowed. Sadness gets buried. Even joy feels muted. Real example. Someone asks, "Are you okay?" You say, "I'm fine." And you genuinely believe it, even though you haven't felt okay in years. Why this developed? Expressing emotions as a child didn't lead to comfort. It led to being ignored. So you shut it all down. The cost. You're numb to everything. Life feels flat. You can't access the full spectrum of human experience. You know this trait if you can't remember the last time you cried. Not because you're strong, but because you've forgotten how to feel. Trait 5. The eternal observer, never the main character. You watch life happen to other people. You're supportive, present for everyone's story, but never the protagonist of your own. In group photos, you're taking the picture. In conversations, you're asking questions. You've perfected being present without being noticed. Why this developed? You spent childhood watching everyone else get the spotlight. You learned your role was to witness, not be witnessed. The cost? You're the supporting character in everyone else's narrative. You know this trait if you felt more real as a reflection in someone else's eyes than in your own. Trait 6. Guilt over being happy or successful. When good things happen, you feel wrong about it. Guilty, like you don't deserve it. You downplay wins, deflect compliments, feel uncomfortable when attention is on you for positive reasons. Real example. You get promoted. Someone congratulates you. You immediately say, "Oh, it's not a big deal. I just got lucky." Why? Childhood taught you that being noticed for achievements didn't guarantee celebration, so success became something to hide. The cost: you can't savor good things. You're always waiting for someone to tell you you're taking up too much space. You know this trait if you've achieved something significant and thought, "I hope no one makes a big deal about this." Trait 7. Hypervigilance in relationships. You're constantly scanning for signs that you're too much, that you're being forgotten again, that you don't matter. Real example: your partner takes 2 hours to text back. Your brain immediately goes, "They're losing interest. I said something wrong. I'm being replaced." Why? Your amygdala, your brain's threat detection center, became hyperactive. You learned people are unpredictable, so your brain went into overdrive trying to protect you from being overlooked again. The cost: you're exhausting yourself trying to read between lines that don't exist. You know this trait if a slight change in someone's tone makes you spiral. So those are the 7 traits. If you have even one of these, you're carrying invisible child wounds. If you have all 7, you've been surviving on survival mode your entire life. But here's the thing nobody tells you. These traits aren't permanent. Your brain can heal. Let me show you how. Part 3. The neuroscience of being unseen. What happened to your brain? Being ignored wasn't just emotional, it was neurological. Your developing brain was shaped by the absence of attunement. Here's what happened. 1. Your amygdala became hyperactive. The amygdala is your brain's threat detection center. In children who grow up with emotional neglect, it becomes overactive, constantly scanning for danger, rejection, abandonment. This is why you're always reading between the lines. You catastrophize. A slight change in someone's tone makes you spiral too. Your prefrontal cortex didn't develop properly. The prefrontal cortex handles emotional regulation, sense of self, decision-making. It develops through co-regulation, having caregivers help you manage big feelings. But if no one was there to co-regulate, your prefrontal cortex didn't get the practice it needed. This is why your emotions feel overwhelming or non-existent. Decision-making feels paralyzing. Your sense of self feels unstable. 3. Your body remembers that chronic emotional neglect shows up as fatigue, sleep problems, digestive issues, muscle tension. Your nervous system learned it couldn't fully relax because safety was never guaranteed. But here's the good news. Neuroplasticity is real. The same brain that adapted to neglect can adapt to being seen. The same nervous system that learned to shut down can learn to stay present. It takes time. It takes the kind of consistent, attuned relationships you didn't get as a kid. But healing is possible. Your brain is not fixed. Your story is not over. Part 4. The healing framework. What healing actually looks like. Let's talk about what healing isn't. It's not linear, fast, a smooth upward trajectory. It's messy. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It's having a breakthrough on Tuesday and completely dissociating by Thursday. And that's normal. You're not failing at healing. You're healing like a human, not like a self-help book promised. Here are 4 concrete practices. Practice 1. Reparenting through internal dialogue. What? Talk to the part of yourself stuck in childhood. Why? You can't get the childhood you deserved, but you can give your inner child the attention they needed. How? Set aside time each week to check in with your younger self. Ask, what did you need today that you didn't get? Then meet that need. If young, you needed to be told they mattered, tell them. Become the parent you needed. Expect. This will feel awkward. You might cry. You might feel nothing. Keep doing it anyway. Practice 2. Take up space in low-stakes situations. What? Deliberately do things that make you visible in contexts where the risk is minimal. Why? Your nervous system needs evidence that being seen doesn't always lead to pain. How? Start small. Order something specific at a restaurant instead of whatever. Share an opinion in a group chat. Wear something that makes you feel noticed. Each time you make yourself visible and survive it, you're building new neural pathways. Expect discomfort, anxiety, the urge to minimize yourself. Do it anyway. Practice number 3. Set 1 boundary per week. What? Identify one small boundary you need and enforce it. Why? Boundaries teach you and others that you matter. How? Start manageable. I can't talk right now. I'll call you later. I need alone time this weekend. Say it clearly. Don't over-explain. Don't apologize. Expect guilt. So much guilt. Your brain will tell you you're being selfish. You're not. You're being human. Practice 4. Find a trauma-informed therapist. What? Work with someone trained in childhood emotional neglect. Why? You can't think your way out of a nervous system problem. How? Look for therapists who specialize in childhood trauma, EMDR, somatic experiencing, internal family systems. Expect. It will take time to find the right fit. The right therapeutic relationship can be the corrective emotional experience you never had. What healed looks like. Healed doesn't look like perfection. Healed looks like recognizing when you're shrinking yourself and choosing not to. Asking for what you need even when your voice shakes. Being in a room full of people and not constantly calculating whether you matter. Disappointing someone and not immediately assuming you're worthless. Celebrating wins out loud instead of in the privacy of your head. Letting people see you, the real you, and trusting that if they leave, you'll survive. Healed looks like breaking the generational pattern. Being the parent who notices their kid's mood shift before the kid says anything. Healed looks like saying, I was the ignored child, without it being your entire identity. You don't forget what it felt like to be invisible, but you stop living like you still are. Conclusion. Before we end, I want to ask you something. If you could tell your younger self one thing about being the invisible child, what would it be? Drop it in the comments, because someone out there needs to hear what you have to say. If you made it this far, you now understand. Being the ignored child gave you something most people don't have. Profound empathy, because you know what it feels like to be unseen. Incredible observational skills, because you had to read rooms to survive. Resilience that runs bone deep, because you've been raising yourself since you were too young to know that's what you were doing. You were never actually invisible. You were just surrounded by people who weren't looking. And now you're learning to look at yourself, to see yourself, to become the witness you always needed. That's the work. That's the healing. Alice Miller wrote, "The true opposite of depression is not gaiety or absence of pain, but vitality, the freedom to experience spontaneous feelings." Healing isn't about becoming happy all the time. It's about reclaiming your right to feel all of it. The anger you weren't allowed to express, the sadness you had to hide, the joy you felt guilty celebrating. You spent your childhood muting yourself. Healing is turning the volume back up. You're not too much. You're not too needy. You're not unworthy of attention. You're a person who survived being unseen by becoming your own witness. And now you're learning to be seen, not just acknowledged, truly seen. If this hit home, drop a comment. Tell me which trait resonated most. And subscribe for more psychology that actually gets it. Take care of yourself. You're not alone.